nobody in the payment space knows where the business is going. You know, maybe in 2020, everybody thought it was all going to crypto. Jeremy still lives in his parents' basement because he thought it was all going to crypto.
It's very nice basement,
I won't say how much James lost on crypto.
We were just talking about
this morning.
My two worst investments of my life were buying all my crypto and then selling it.
Paper hands.
In no order.
It'll kill you. Yeah.
Welcome to the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Nobody in the payment space knows where the business is going. You know, maybe in 2020, everybody thought it was all going to crypto. Jeremy still lives in his parents' basement because he thought it was all going to crypto.
It's very nice basement.
I won't say how much James lost on crypto.
We were just talking about
this morning.
My two worst investments of my life were buying all my crypto and then selling it.
Paper hands.
In no order.
It'll kill you. Yeah.
Anyways, we don't know where it's going. Where I don't want to say where is payments going, but what are the biggest threats to people operating in the payments space, merchants, ISOs, agents, NMI? I mean, NMI is so big, nothing scares that, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I kind of feel a little strange explaining this to you because I don't need to, point out to you guys that really the shifting regulatory environment is, in my view, that's the biggest thing that people have to keep their eye on, right? And whether that's things like VAMP, the rules around level 2 and level 3, things like that, even just staying up to date with PCI requirements. We're in the process right now of working with a lot of our customers on two-factor authentication to make sure those kind of things are up to speed. And anytime you have those kind of factors impacting your business, it clearly is something that creates a risk. But it also, payments is an interesting industry because there's a lot of folks who are in payments who view it as a set it and forget it.
Yep.
Kind of a thing. And I'm going to set this up, I'm going to build up my business, and then, it's just going to be on autopilot. And, in many respects, I'd say it is a lot more on autopilot than a lot of other businesses, but it's not 100% on autopilot.
Yep.
You need to be prepared for changes. And I'd say that my take on the kind of regulatory environment, which would be interesting if you guys agree with this, is you're seeing kind of at the federal level, maybe things letting up a little bit, but then you're seeing it being replaced by this state level patchwork. You gotta manage it by state, and then you have the card schemes, you have the acquiring banks who kind of have their own kind of set of rules. And look, we're NMI. We love, we're like Daniel Plainview in There Will Be Blood. We love all religions equally. And this is a situation where we have to deal with all these different folks who we're chatting with and working with in the industry. But as an ISO, as a software company that's trying to manage your business, you got to stay on top of that. And I think our approach at NMI is to offer you tools that can help you with that. And certainly, we try to drive awareness of potential things coming. But I think it takes not only companies like us, but also folks like yourself actually as well, who can really get into the details on that. And when somebody does feel like they need help or maybe, need a second opinion or somebody to take a look at something, they can call somebody and ask that question.
Yep. Okay. Side note, NMI is not going to let you talk about VAMP. Probably.
They're not?
I'm on cut right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We've only had one person agree to get on here on VAMP because they don't want to get on Visa's radar about it.
Okay, well, we talked about it this morning. I mean,
Okay, no, I'm fine if you want it. But I actually would rather talk about level 2 and level 3 because we haven't covered that yet. Do you want to go into that? Will they get pissed? That one, I don't think they will. VAMP, I love talking about it, but...
It's fascinating.
Level 2, level 3, I
Here, wait,
know.
let me-
I know.
let me just do one thing quick.
Slightly less
Yeah.
than to be dangerous on that one.
Okay, so maybe we just shouldn't go there. Well, I was going to just be like, what did you mean by like, level 2, level 3? What do you mean? Okay, let's do that. You brought up level 2, level 3. What did you mean by that?
So, use of level 2 and level 3, I think if you're watching this show, you probably know what that means, right? It's adding additional fields to a transaction in order to take advantage of things like corporate card interchange rates that are different than if you're a consumer. There's a lot of detail here, and I'm a caveman sales guy, so don't take it from me. Call an expert. But especially the card schemes, especially, are looking at how people are presenting those transactions and saying, we want you to do it in a specific way, or we're going to start to maybe do some things that you might not like.
Charge
right?
you more,
Yeah,
more declines.
Exactly, that kind of a thing. So I think on that one, like, if that's something that you are taking advantage of, and in particular, if you're in a situation right now where you're using those and you're dealing with declines, I think that would be a situation where I would certainly call and get some advice there on how to deal with that and whether you need to make some changes. If you're passing these through and not having a problem with it, I can't say whether you will or will not have an issue. But it is something where changes are coming down the pike, and like I said, like, this is something that if your business does do it, get some advice there and figure out if you need to do something different with the change and how that's being approached.
Yeah, you brought up like the biggest threat, to the space, and threat and opportunity at the same time is deregulation, regulation. Our firm, we thrive in increased regulation, and we really thrive in decreased regulation. And then when it stays status quo, that's where I see people in the payment space kind of starting to get cagey. And then we all start freaking out when the status quo is happening, and Visa comes in and says, we got new surcharge rules all of a sudden. And that throws everybody in a tizzy. It's almost like the payment space likes the drama, because I'm going, when surcharge and dual pricing and every stuff came in, everyone's like, what's your opinion? How does this work? And I'm going, this is really simple, guys. I can break it down to 3 sentences over here and 4 sentences over here, but I'm getting flown out to, North Carolina to, give a presentation on how to do it correctly. And it's a riot, because I'm going, who thinks they're doing it correctly? And everybody raises their hand. I'm going, tell me about that. And I'm going, well, that's wrong, and they're going, well, flat 4% on everything. That's fine, even cash. And I'm going, no, that's not. But anyways, it's the payment space. It loves change. It thrives on change. It grows on change. So when you see, things happening that are shaking things up, I'm going, this is where payments really outshines a lot of other industries.
Well, I think that's a great point, and this is one where, go USA. I think like our country has decided to let a lot of that innovation play out, and that has created a ton of value in this space for people who do what we do, but also I think for customers who have a lot of different options, a lot of different ways that they can make payments. I think if you look at a lot of other developed countries in the world, it's fairly directive on here's what you will do, here's what you won't do, and that's all I'm going to say about that, right?
Sure.
And so I think you're right. I think it does thrive on a lot of change, new things happening, and there will always be something, right? It's not going to be a situation where we get to, oh, well, we're now done.
Set it and forget it.
We're now done. There's no more, change. Like, you can just forget it. Like, you will always need to keep an eye on that and be ready to be flexible, be modular, have choice. That's kind of what we try to offer.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons that you partner with someone like NMI or you partner with somebody like Global Legal Law Firm, because you're having people that have their ears to the track. They're seeing what's happening and they know what's coming. They hope they know what's coming and they think about, well, here are the 3 ways to go. I better talk to those guys so that I can plan my business. When we talk to people coming in and they want our advice on whether it's litigation, contracts, or anything like that, my first question usually, and I get there, I try to, because if you ask this question to some people, they're going, huh? What's your exit plan? You try and get there because my exit, like I'm trying to get out of work at 5 and get my kids and, all this. And I'm going, no, let's you try and we massage in there and figure out what these people's values are, what they care about, what really their exit plan is. Everybody says billion. I want to sell for $1 billion. And okay, that's a pretend number for most of us. Actually, I'm probably going to win the Powerball tonight, or whenever it is. So, but for most people, that's not a real number. It's where do you want to go, and let's help you get there. And a company like NMI, and I was excited to meet you, is doing the same thing of let's help you get there. We're operating behind the scenes. Sometimes we're out front quite a bit, but let's help you get to where you need to go. And we're doing a lot of the work for you. Chris always says, my partner, he says, these salespeople who are a lot of our listeners, you're really good at selling. The rest of the stuff, let somebody else do it, Yeah,
and I would just put it this way. You don't necessarily need to have a plan on where you want to be in 5 years or 10 years. The question you should be asking yourself is, if you make a choice, are you comfortable with that being the way things are going to be 5 years or 10 years from now? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to leave your options open?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which would you prefer? If you're absolutely positive that working with, this specific, set of partners is exactly what you want to do, well then great. And, maybe that, but I would say that 100% of our customers, that's not right. How they're thinking about it. They're thinking about it like, we want to leave, we want to have choice, we want to be able to figure out where we want to be, and that might change, based on the way the industry unfolds and the way our business unfolds.
I might want to just go out and do some crimes and, make money that way. But I like you saying, you don't have to have your exit plan. My wife for years has been going, it doesn't work unless you have a plan, you write it down, you execute on it. So I'm like, I've got this plan. Chris and I met on it like 7-8 years ago. And I have a reminder every once in a while to do the meeting. But then I heard Oprah say, I don't have a plan at all. I just execute, go away. And she was talking to somebody on her podcast. Somebody else told me this. It's not like I listen to everything Oprah says. But she said, Stephen Colbert, same thing. I don't have a plan. You execute and you adjust and you do the best thing in the moment. And, that's why you would, partner with people like NMI or Sales Pitch Global Legal Law Firm.
Crazy make-em-ups. That's I think what Christopher Walken
often does.
Them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, closing words, Rob. You get to shut us down. Anything you want to let our avid viewership listeners know about?
Yeah, I think just a reflection. So I'm actually not a payments industry lifer. So I've been in the industry now this is my 4th year. Officially as a payments person.
Maybe I wasn't rest of your lifer though.
It's possible, yes. And I have done payments my entire life.
Right.
So I've been on the consumer side. This is really an industry where a lot of having tech that can talk to other pieces of that tech stack is really important. And so I think what we're trying to do at NMI is create a platform that obviously we have our tech, and I talked about kind of the different pieces of it. We have Gateway, we have extensions, we have MRM, which is the Merchant Central piece. We have the integrated payment solution, but we also integrate with our customers, and we try to interoperate with them. And that's a lot of what we do, is figuring out how those things work together. And I contrast that with, actually, I'm kind of a reformed cybersecurity person. So I worked in cyber for like 10 years. And that was an industry where people did say we want things integrated. And then when they had the opportunity to show their revealed preference, they always went with best of breed and picked some point kind of solution. And having been in payments now, it's clear to me that things that can work with others. That's where a lot of the value is here, folks, is that getting a solution that is not a closed system, but actually is very open. So, of course, I would say that, I work at NMI, but I actually truly believe it. And if I think about, I've worked at companies who have, been going after that, okay, we're going to integrate everything. And it's a challenge. I think if you can find somebody you can do it with, there's a lot of value there. So thank you for having me on. And, I'll see you around the neighborhood, I guess.
Sounds
right?
good.
Yeah.
On the pickleball court.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but make sure you're registered on, no non-residents.
And don't get too close to the lake. Don't get too close to the swans.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. Visit us online today at globallegallawfirm.com. Matters discussed are all opinions and do not constitute legal advice. All events or likeness to real people and events is a coincidence.